Hey guys, here's a video for 709 daily practice. We're going to start with our investigation. So we have this beautiful painting, and we know Edvard Munch painted the famous Scream in 1893. He drew a line in the bottom right corner that cut the corner into two angles with a ratio of 4:5. So we know these angles are in a ratio, and we're looking in this corner. We know it's a corner, and then we see this line right here that he drew to cut the angles, and these angles are in a ratio of 4:5. We're going to find the measure of both angles. Now I drew in this little corner because we know that together these two make a right angle, so they're complementary and they will make 90 degrees. So we can think of this problem a couple different ways. I'll show you guys two methods to solve. The first method is we can just give each of these numbers in the ratio a variable. So we can say, okay, we have a 4x and we have a 5x. So one thing we can do is say 4x plus 5x together, since they're complementary, should equal 90. I can add these two since they're like terms. 9x equals 90 divided by 9. X equals 10. Now we're not quite done. We need to find the measure of both angles, so I'm going to substitute this x back in to the picture. 4 times x is 10. 4 times 10 is 40 degrees, and 5 times 10 is 50 degrees. So that's one method, using an equation. Now we can also think about ratios. When we were working with ratios, we oftentimes set up a proportion. So we can say, okay, the angle that's the 4, I know is 4 out of, since it's 4:5, this is kind of like a part to whole ratio. I know the total between 4 and 5 is 9. So 4 out of 9 is going to be how many degrees out of the 90? So we can cross multiply and divide to solve. 4 times 90 is 360. So I have 360 equals 9x divided by 9. And 40 equals x. This time, x isn't a variable. X is just my missing degree. So my first angle is 40 degrees. Now if I look back at my picture, again, I can see they're complementary. So 90 minus my missing degree could give me the second degree. So again, 40 degrees and 50 degrees. I want you to think now to yourself, if you're watching this video, you weren't in class, so you don't have a neighbor to discuss with, but think to yourself, which of these strategies do you like better? And you can think about this debrief question. How would your strategy to this change if you were trying to solve for a variable versus if you were finding each missing angle? For a variable, I think writing and solving an equation is better. That's like if I wanted to get to x equals 10. For an angle, to find the missing angles, I personally think the proportion way is better. It looks like fewer steps, but if you want to think about the equation, that's also fine. So for angle measures, both ways are good. Awesome. So we're going to fill in our key points. Basically, the steps that we just followed are going to be what we're going to do today, because in today's problems, you're not going to have any pictures. So you're going to have to annotate or func your problem, looking for keywords especially. You're going to draw a picture based on those keywords you see, and you're going to set up an equation using your angle relationships. So what are my angle relationships? Things you're looking for. Maybe you'll see vertical. You might see complementary. You might see supplementary. Or you might just be given a description of a triangle. And then lastly, once I have an equation, you're going to have to solve using inverse operations. So again, only difference between today and what we did yesterday and in previous days is today you're not given the picture, so you have to create the picture based on the description. So here's an example for us. We have angles ABC and DBE are vertical angles, and then we have the measure of ABC is 4x plus 6.5, and the measure of DBE is 42.9 degrees. First thing we need to do is draw and label these angles. I know they're vertical, so I'm going to draw some intersecting lines. And we need to also label the ABC, the DBE. So if we look at the names of these angles right here, we can see that they both have this letter B in the middle. That tells me that B is this center point. So I'm going to put B. And then we need ABC, so we can put ABC up top. And we need DBE, we can put DBE on the bottom. Now I need to label where are their actual measurements. So I think DBE is a little easier because it's just a number. DBE is my bottom angle, 42.9, so I'm going to put 42.9 inside here. And then 4x plus 6.5 is ABC. I know they're vertical, so it's going to be across. Awesome. So now I need to find the value of x. I'm going to write my equation. Equations always have an equal sign, so I put an equal sign. And I got to use what I know about vertical angles. I know vertical angles are across from each other. That's how I drew that picture. I also know vertical angles are congruent. So ABC should equal DBE. So now that I have that filled out, I'm going to just fill in what I know about these angles. ABC is 4x plus 6.5. DBE is 42.9. Okay, right away I see I have 6.5 as a fraction and 42.9 as a decimal. I prefer decimals, so I'm going to change this 6.5 into a decimal. A half I know is 0.5, so it's going to be 6.5. And now I'm ready to solve with my inverse operations. I see plus, so I'm going to subtract this 6.5. It's going to go away. I'm left with 4x equals 9 minus 5 is 4. I've got to borrow. 12 minus 6 is 6, and I have 3. So 36.4 is what I have. And now 4 times x, my inverse is divide by 4. And I'm going to go to some scratch work here and see. Put my decimal. 4 goes into 3, not at all. 4 goes into 36 9 times. Bring down a 4. 4 goes into 4 once. So x equals 9.1. Awesome. If I wanted to be really, really sure of myself, I could take this 9.1 and substitute it back in. So 4 times 9.1. I'm substituting into this expression over here. 6.5. I can go to my scratch paper or my scratch work. I get 36.4 plus 6.5, and I'm hoping to end at 42.9. Awesome. So that tells me that my final answer down here was correct. X equals 9.1. Again, as you guys are going through today's lesson, always look back to your key points if you're not sure. Use what you know about your angles to draw a picture. Use that picture to set up your equation, and then solve that equation with inverse operations. You guys got it. Good luck with the rest of your lesson.